Hi everyone, in today's videos, we're going to look at Chapter 5, Configure Routing and Remote Access. First, let's look at the meaning of routing and remote access in network administration. So, in a network administration point of view, this task is having to do something with remote access between the client and the server. So for the operating system, we need to install and configure a particular software for us to do that. And for Windows Server, this is called routing and remote access service. While in Linux, we simply use the secure shell via PuTTY. So PuTTY is a free and open source terminal emulator, serial console, and network file transfer application. So this PuTTY supports several network protocols, including SCP, SSH, Telnet, RLogin, and raw socket connection. We can also connect to a serial port, and the name PuTTY has no official meaning. So in Windows, RRAS or Remote and Routing Access Service, it's basically an application programming interface or API, and it's part of the Microsoft Windows Server software that makes it possible to create applications like to administer the routing and remote access service capabilities of the operating system, to function as a network router, and also to implement routing protocols. So basically, with the capability offered in RRAS, you are able to make the server perform the services of a router. So that basically means you provide connectivity for remote users and also remote offices to the corporate network. So basically, you are allowing remote access from people outside of the network to gain network resources inside your company. So bila nak buat kerja, you are able to access resources such as a file and printer for remote users. Dekat client side, you can use the standard Windows punya tools lah. So here are the services included in the RRAS suite, which are remote access, dial-up remote access server, VPN remote access server, IP router for connecting subnets of networks, network address translation services, router-specific services, as well as dial-up and VPN side-to-side demand dial router. So untuk routing capabilities, they support RIP version 2, OSPF, LAN to LAN routing, LAN to WAN routing, VPN for remote access, NAT, and also multicasting, filtering, and DHCP relay. So one of the most important features adalah capability untuk configure a virtual private network. So virtual private network is a private network that uses a public network. So that means other users or your clients using the internet provided by whatever their service providers are. But you are able to use your private network, which is your corporate network. So let's look at the VPN concept, which is basically an encrypted connection over the internet from a device to a network. So that's how you provide privacy over a public network, which enables remote workers to access the private network or the corporate network of his or her company while still using whatever the internet service provider services provide. So you can use EM or Maxis or Time internet connection, but you can access your resources provided by the company. Because of the encryption, you ensure that sensitive data can be safely transmitted, and it prevents unauthorized persons from eavesdropping on the traffic. So you can send and receive corporate files or company files which are private and confidential safely. So this is an example topology showing the use case of a virtual private network with an architecture diagram. So it shows a scenario where there are 4 locations, which is the head office, the branch office, home office, and also telecommuter. So the head office is accessing the internet through a lease line, which means you pay particularly from the ISP to get a private line. You do not share the internet with any other subscriber. The branch office is accessing the internet through an internet lease line, while the home office is accessing the internet through a fixed broadband connection. So in real life situations right now, maybe you are accessing using, for example, a fiber to the home network. Also a telecommuter, or now people working from anywhere, we can call that. They can access the internet through mobile broadband technology. So you are able to access from a wireless network, for example, your 5G network. So this information here in the slide may be a little bit old, but you can adapt it to the current technology, for example, 5G. So daripada simple topology tadi, kita boleh gunakan satu device which is called UTM, or Unified Threat Management. So this can be a server or a firewall. Okay, and usually this UTM appliance already comes with an inbuilt VPN license. Alright, basically bila kita configure this UTM with a VPN license, usually it will be transparent lah kepada klien. So klien boleh guna any certified VPN client or the client available in Windows untuk remotely access the corporate network. We can also use a wireless controller for managing the multiple wireless access points in the enterprise, which can also act as a VPN concentrator and also establish VPN tunnels with other wireless controllers. So ini juga boleh digunakan sebagai salah satu cara to enable remote access daripada teleworker or working from home. So bila kita cakap mengenai VPN ni, yang dia penting je, the featured highlight of the VPN is the encryption. So kita ada 2 jenis protocol for the encryption of the VPN, which is IPsec and also SSL. So IPsec is basically a suite of tools yang kita boleh implement. Kita boleh implement semua suite, all the layers in the suite, or also we can optionally choose which are practical for our company. Okay, so basically dalam VPN IPsec suite ni, dia ada tools or facilities untuk tunneling, encryption, and also authentication. So why IPsec VPN is popular? Because it has a lot of advantages. For example, it is an established and field-tested technology, and it has been used by a majority of the customers for a long period now. So the safety and integrity of the connectivity has already been proven. So VPN is also scalable using IPsec because it enables a client-based VPN technology to connect to only those devices which can prove their integrity. So basically any client machine which is able to provide their integrity can remotely connect to their network. Jadi kalau ada ramai remote worker dengan gunakan IPsec ni, dia adalah seamless lah. You boleh tambah atau kurangkan the number of users as long as they satisfy the requirement for the IPsec. And cara dia function adalah dia look at the packet filtering at the lower level in the protocol stack, which is at the network layer. So in terms of packet drop performance, dia punya performance is better than compared to other protocols. So that's why IPsec is the preferred choice for companies. The other option is using SSL or Secure Sockets Technology or Secure Sockets Protocol. And this also provides authentication, authorization, accounting, and network access. So one of the examples that you have used SSL is when you are doing your internet banking. So your data is already encrypted even though you are using the public network. But since your data is private and confidential and you want to send it over to the bank's network, it is encrypted using the SSL TLS technology. So taking that example, kita nampak satu advantage lah SSL sebab dia ada integration with browser based access. So any application, it doesn't need a specialized client or tool. You can easily incorporate this protocol inside any browser based application. So users dah biasa pakai browser, dia boleh juga gunakan ini sebagai a client interface untuk akses kepada corporate network. So since it is compatible with browser-based applications, it's easier to deploy and maintain across a large number of traveling or remote users. Kita tak perlu install a specialized tool or client lah untuk connect kepada network. So sebab itu juga klien dia boleh gunakan apa-apa gadgets lah. Okay, so sesuai lah kalau kita hanya pakai mobile phone pun masih boleh access resources dekat private network kita. So what's the difference between SSL and IPsec? So SSL is flexible for end users and also easy to use because it is easily incorporated into browser based. But maybe if you have a specialized usage according to company needs, it's easier for you to use IPsec lah based on different configuration requirement of that particular company. Other than that, actually there are available open source VPN tools, for example, OpenVPN and also OpenSSL. So in this case, if you are using that particular technology, you might need a specialized hardware device to run this open source VPN tool. So the overall advantage of implementing VPN is because it's a cost-effective way to connect remote users to corporate network securely. And also you don't compromise on the speed because whatever technology is available, you can use that technology. So if a better speed is available, you do not need to go backwards to the lower speed just because you want integrity. Okay. And also you provide a secure remote access, which is very, very important in this case to do your work. And the technology has already incorporated capability for authentication before you can allow them connectivity to the corporate network. So here they give an example of the best VPN service provider for use in Malaysia. So this content may not be the most up-to-date, but it is an example. Let's look at a little bit about routing and remote access in Linux. So the way to configure this is using SSH, Telnet, and remote login. They are basically network protocols that allow you to log into another computer over a network. So here are examples of how you can learn how to use the SSH. You can follow the link given in the slide. So one of the tools that you can use to implement SSH is using the PuTTY. There are other tools which is also incorporated for Windows. So PuTTY is one of them. You can use both PuTTY on Windows and also on Linux-based platforms. So it's the world's most popular free SSH client. And apart from SSH, it also supports Telnet and also raw socket connections. You can follow this link given in the slide for a short intro tutorial about using PuTTY. So that's it for this chapter.